by. It's been a very, very fast moving week, a lot of stuff happening. And we're back once again on our weekly Thursday Ask the Lender. Today, my co host in Ask the Lender is none other of that, what is it, Super Galaxy Supervisor? No, I think you muted. You muted. You see the Galaxy.
Fíjate, ahora viejo. Yeah, intergalactic regional manager, I believe.
Intergalactic regional
Intergalactic,
manager for the prime loan team at CMG. Ruben
Yep.
Crispino. How are you, Ruben?
I'm doing good. Good. Feeling good. Looking good. Ready to go, Billy Ray.
Awesome, awesome. So for everybody joining us today, the reason we are redoing this presentation, because we did it I think about a couple of months ago, is because I'm getting a lot of calls from a lot of agents, not only campus agents, a lot of agents saying, hey, my listing is not getting traffic. What's going on? I'm not getting showings. So there's a lot of seasonality in real estate. And as we are always approach the holiday season, the market tends to cool off a little. Some people postpone their purchases or sales because it's the holiday season. Understand that. But if you notice, developers that's when they amp up incentives to get traffic through the door to end the year with a bang. So Ruben's team has a tool that is literally the same tool that is being used by all of the national builders nationwide, and it works very similar. That tool gives you the ability to advertise your listing with a fantastic, very competitive rate that will get you the foot traffic that you need. Because the more eyeballs on a property, the better chances you have of getting the property under contract. So yes, inventory it's up almost. We're at 38% from where we were at the beginning of the year. I called 40. I'm 2% short, Ruben. But I think the election sort of paused a couple of things. I think we'll get to that 40% before the year ends. But Ruben wanted to talk to you guys because I reached out and said, hey, I'm getting a lot of questions still regarding mortgage rate buy downs on a listing, a tool that sellers can use to get the property sold. So Ruben, could you break down what is a rate down, buy down, or buy down, rate down, or whatever you want to call it?
Well, we have something different. We call it the list and lock. Okay.
List and lock.
List and lock, right? Because it's a program that we're selling to the sellers, in this case, on one of your listings. The reason that I wanted to discuss this again is because we're having success. As a matter of fact, we just signed somebody up from Canvas on a listing they have yesterday. And we're starting to see how it's making sense, right? To just give you a little background on what the builders do, a lot of the smaller builders do the buy down, like you mentioned. They'll do a 3-2-1 buy down, a 2-1 buy down, a 1-1 buy down, and that's great, right? But there's a problem with the buy down the builders do, and that problem is two things. Number one, it's temporary, right? So if it's a 3-2-1 buy down, the rate's only lower for 3 years. On year 4, it goes back to the market rate, which is good. It's better than nothing, right? And the other issue is that on the builders buy downs, the borrower still needs to qualify for the mortgage at the higher rate. So basically at the rate of year 4 in a 3-2-1 buy down. So that's good, but we have something better, okay, which is the list and lock, right? So our list and lock program, what it does is it permanently buys down the rate. So it's for 30 years on a 30-year loan. So the rate's not going to change in year 4. It's not going to change ever. Once we close, that's the rate. So that's number one, why it's much better than what the builders are offering. And number two is because it's a permanent buy down, the borrower now qualifies at the lower rate. Okay, let me say that again. Repeat that. The borrower qualifies at the lower rate. So what happens? Not only are you giving an incentive to the buyer, right? Because you're paying down the rate basically as a seller, But more importantly, and this is what I kind of want to talk about this, it's unbelievable effect on your market, right? So a potential buyer that could maybe not have afforded your listing because the market rate is too much. Either they couldn't afford it or they wouldn't couldn't qualify for it. Now, by doing this and offering a significantly lower rate, not only can they afford it, but they can qualify. So it's going to open up your market massively just because of this. And what we say at CMG is, okay, as long as the seller agrees to buy down 1 point, we will match that 1 point at our cost. So basically, you're buying a total of 2 points. We recommend that they buy down 3 points. Now, there's no cost to the borrower up front until closing, right? So, I mean, there's the amount of risk is very little. There's a $49 fee that we charge, but again, it's no money, and it's just something to put it in the books to keep compliant. To be honest with you, but that being said, the sweet spot for us is if the seller is willing to do 3 points and we do one. It can take a rate from like 7.5 to 5.75. It's significant. So while people are waiting on the sidelines to see what happens with the Fed and the new election and all that stuff, we have a tool that we don't have to wait. We don't want to wait. We want to sell properties for the rest of November and December and January. We take control of this. Ends up being cheaper, not only for the seller, so instead of lowering the price, we're going to buy the points. So it's really the way to go. I think it's a phenomenal product. I've been talking about it left and right. It really works.
So Ruben, so from what I gather, this is a program designed to assist home sellers in attracting buyers, but offering them an advantage of a discounted rate, right? That's like the
Right.
synopsis of it, right?
Correct. And again, the most important part about it is that it's permanent, right? Uh, what we're competing with are non-permanent products. And I focus not just on the savings the borrower is going to get. I mean, you're talking about significantly monthly savings for the buyer, but
Yeah.
it's also the fact that they can qualify. I mean, there's a whole market out there that is not qualifying because the rates, maybe too high. By bringing the rate down a point and a half, it's significant. Uh, what the rate reduces and how much you're saving on a monthly basis. And if you take that monthly savings over 30 years, now we know they don't live there 30 years, but if you did the math, it's a lot better savings than lowering the price of the house 10,000, 20,000, whatever it may be. So just so you understand, for the seller, it's better too because it ends up being cheaper than actually lowering the price of the house. Okay. So you're not messing with your market, you're not disturbing anything, and now you're going to be the have a shiny object as compared to other listings because we are also going to give you a bunch of marketing, a website, a writer. The writer's going to say, buy this house at 5.5 or 6 or whatever it may be, whatever the situation may be. You can add that to your writer. You can put it on the MLS. We'll have a ton of marketing that comes for free with this program. So not only are you it's not just doing it, but it's yelling and screaming at the top of your lungs. Let's buy this house. I'm going to pay down your rate to 5.75 or 6 or 6.25, whatever it may be. That is huge for buyers because again, it's a big savings, and more importantly, you're going to attract more buyers because now they qualify for the loan.
So question, is there a max on the amount of points a seller could buy?
So we have maxes depending on the down payment of the borrower and the type of loan. There is one, they're all a little different, but we look at the sweet spot where not too expensive for the seller and where we see the numbers really working is at 3 points, right? So if the seller pays for 3 points of a seller concession towards interest rate, and we add one additional point, that's 4. I mean, that's a lot of points to bring down the rate. And
Okay.
for those of you that want to know how much a point, it's like 1%. So for example, it's based on the loan amount, not on the purchase price. So if the loan amount's 300,000 and you're paying 3 points, that's $9,000 at
Okay.
closing
So each point is the 1% of the value of the property.
of the no, the mortgage amount, the mortgage amount.
Okay. And a seller can do. You recommend the perfect sauce. The secret sauce is 3% the seller, 1% Ruben,
Yeah, right.
and then that's what worked.
Yeah.
Is this only for owner occupied properties, or could this be used for investment properties?
This is for owner occupied properties. It's also not for jumbo. So it's we have a maximum of well, the current one is still 766 250. It's, I know it's being raised to 800,000 and change. So it is on conforming products.
From common products. Awesome. How long does that rate lock last? So if I have a listing today, we are days away from Thanksgiving. I just read the tourism in South Florida has sort of blown off the doors of last year. So there's more people walking the streets of South Florida that are looking at this beautiful weather and saying, I want to make this home. I just heard that it's 0 degrees in New York today. Why would you want to be in New York when it's 0 degrees when you have a beautiful 72-degree outside? So I bet I'm going to do this to my listing. I'm going to call Ruben. I'm going to call you today. How long does this last? How long can I lock that rate
So we don't lock it until you have a contract, which is
for? Okay.
important, right? So even though we sign up for the program today and we get it all done and we give you all the marketing, everything's out there, we're ready to go. You find a buyer and you have a contract, that's when we lock it. And that lock is good for 60 days. It can be extended. There's a slight fee for that for the extension, but it's good for 60 days. The reality is once you're under contract, we're closing that in 30. So there's really no need to extend it. But we do not lock it until we have a contract, a buyer's contract.
Okay, so I think that was a confusion. So people were asking, so you do that from the moment you begin to market the property? No, once we put the property under contract, then it's when the lock kicks in. It's locked for 60 days, but you guys tend to close in 30 days, so that would not
Correct.
be that's not an issue.
Correct.
Okay. And in this rate environment that we have, um, this marketing advantage, I mean, you've been doing this as long as me, do you see this as driving more eyeballs and more foot traffic to the listings that have that brighter outside with the advertised rate?
Absolutely. I think not only will it help you sell the particular listing you have now, I think it can help you get more listings, right? The neighbor sees the rider on your sign says, 5.5% or whatever it may be on this property. You're going to say, hey, I'm going to list my house with Ernesto because he's got the program, right? So we're giving this program to you guys as part of what we do at CMG. It's huge. I think it's a win-win all the way around. There's no losing in this program. You know, couple years ago, we have buyers paying above asking price, right, for properties, significantly above asking price, and nobody blinked an eye, right? Now the market has changed. It's become more of a stable market. We're seeing more concessions. This is a concession that we need to take advantage of. We don't have to wait until Jerome Powell decides to lower the rates again, if he decides to lower the rates again. We don't have to wait anything. We have the ability to control this now and start selling property today on this program. The rates are never probably not going to go back to ever 2 and 3% like we saw them a couple years ago. But if you're able to buy down a rate for your buyer at 5.5, somewhere under 6, I mean, that's a great rate. They're going to keep that for a long time. They're going to be happy and they're going to come back to you, right? Because you made them happy. They got into the house they wanted that maybe they didn't qualify for at 7.5, but at 5.5, they do. So this is a program that's going to make the buyer happy, going to make the seller happy, and you're going to bring, I think, more listings.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, the rule of thumb is a listing should give you another listing. Any listing in a neighborhood could give you another listing. And by advertising this, if any of the neighbors are thinking about selling and seeing that you're offering this extra benefit, I mean, you gotta set yourself apart from whoever is out competing for that listing. You gotta have a different tools in your tool belt that makes you different, that makes you stand out. That when you walk at that listing presentation, it's not only you're not offering the same thing that everybody else is offering. So this is one of those very unique tools that will definitely set you apart. Regarding buyers, Ruben, buyers to take advantage of this, what is their criteria of that buyer?
I mean, really just qualify based on the new rate,
Like
right?
so they still got to qualify for the loan, right?
Yeah, but they have more of an opportunity, right? Because it's a lot easier to qualify for a loan at 5.5 than it is at 7.5. A lot more programs, a lot more flexibility. We have a lot more we can do. We have, kind of more ammunition in the weapons, right, to be able to get the deal done, and that's what we want to do. And I think, it's twofold. I could be, just selling the program without offering the marketing, right? We're doing both, right? Because this is not just about closing loans; it's about getting the next loan. We always want to get the next loan, the next listing, the next sale for you guys. We want to do a presentation on this, showing more of the marketing. It's hard to do in this venue. We're probably going to do something live here in a few weeks for the Canvas agents and any agent that wants to visit us, um, where we're going to show you the kind of marketing that gets provided to you by signing up for this program on your listings. We want to see this everywhere. It doesn't cost anything. I mean, it's basically a no-brainer just to get more marketing and be able to advertise something different. We're going to help you with this. This is not just you doing it by yourself.
Yeah. Well, I mean, the writer for the sign. I know that a lot of real estate agents went away from putting signs on properties because of the surplus of buyers that we had in the previous years. But as the market returns to a balance, and as buyers more and more are searching online for properties, the sign is sort of that landmark that says, "Hey, this is the home." The sign is also a tool that can, they can drive traffic to you. I'm old school. And for those that know that I'm a big believer in bird feeders, the little info tubes at the bottom of the listing. And I think the material on this program sells itself. If you have a listing and if you don't have a sign on it, I highly recommend you go ahead and call your installer. If you're a Canvas agent, that material is there on the company cloud. You can just request it and they have the sign and put it up for you. Ruben, what is the turnaround on the marketing material, website, writer, all of that?
I mean, it's really automated. Once we basically pull the information from the MLS, obviously we have a conversation with the agent first, but it's a couple of days. I mean, it's to get it done. The writer may take a little longer as far as printing and that kind of stuff when we send it, but it's very, very automated. Ernesto, one more thing, that I just thought of with this program, it's going to bring you the ability to double dip the transaction too, right? So if it's your listing and now you have a sign outside or a rider or social media, that's another thing too. We do a ton of social media marketing for you with this program.
Oh,
That says,
okay.
hey, Mr. Buyer or Mrs. Buyer or Ms. or Mr. however you want to put it. Um, look at this listing. I can get you, a 6% rate. Well, they're going to call you directly, right? They're going to call you off the rider. They're going to call you off the social media post. Now you have the opportunity to control the whole transaction. Maybe you don't have a buyer's agent. Listen, I work with buyer's agents all day long. Love working with buyer's agent, but again, look at the possibilities that this program has, where it really can help you take your market. If you're farming a certain area and you got that list of first listing there, whether it's a single family home or a townhouse, even a condo. I know the condos, we don't have writers on them, but it's a social media blast, and the ability to say, "Hey, I can do this. We can do this." The HOA knows about it. They're going to start promoting you as a true player in that market if you want to farm that market.
Okay, so what happens if the home doesn't sell within that 60-day log period? Was one of the questions that was sent to me. Ernesto, we do this, we go under contract, and 60 days come and go. And it takes another 30 days to
We can
close that
extend it.
buyer because it was a hairy buyer.
Yeah, we can extend it. There's a fee for extending it. It's usually a daily fee. It's very, very small per day, but it can be extended, and it's worthwhile extending. And so at that point, if we have a good buyer, we'll know, right? I mean, again, we're closing everything in 30 days, so it shouldn't take anything that long. So we'll give you an additional 30 days. I can't remember the last time anything went that far, but again, we do have another ability to extend it if we have to.
Okay. And I assume that you and the entire team, when you meet with that prospective buyer, you're going to forensically look at everything when you have that consultation. You're going to see any pitfalls that are in the buyer's profile, right? And
Correct.
address them from the beginning. I mean, I know that that's been part of your ethos over the Prime team, that you
Mhm.
guys want to knock out any bumps out of the road, immediately, not have surprises the day off. You just want to meet with the buyers, get a profile. Everybody's going to have a bump or two on the profile. I mean, it is South Florida. Everybody, but you're going to address them in the beginning to target those 60-day closings. If
Right.
the buyer goes and does a faux pas, like go to the city furniture and buy furniture at the last minute or something like that, then you're going to have to rescue that. But you guys address all those pitfalls at the beginning, right?
Correct. Correct. And like I said, it's a multiple of reasons to use this program. Again, it doesn't cost anything. We have a relationship with all you already. And at that point, once you have a contract on your listing, obviously we're going to do a pre-approval. It's in our interest to do a good pre-approval every time, but more so now, right? Because we have a very important time clock that we want to make sure that we close quickly by. It's a great talking point on top of everything. I mean, whether it's somebody who maybe not qualified for this program because let's say they're a foreign national or something, still something that's going to make your phone ring. And I think that's really important because they'll be calling you, not us. And we're here to help. But again, the reality is that this is another way to differentiate yourself, like you mentioned, Ernesto, from the crowd.
Yeah. Now I'm going to give you the realtor, and you can counter if you think I'm missing something here. From a realtor perspective, everybody listening to me, which most people are real estate professionals, this enhances the property appeal, and because it takes out the interest rate point out of the conversation. You're securing that buyer at this kind of rate from the beginning. The program will attract buyers who may be discouraged at this moment because they're hyper focused on what their rate is at and now what home appreciation is taking place. But for those buyers that are hyper focused on mortgage rates, this makes the property more financially appeal to them without requiring the seller or beat up that seller to lower the price, right, Ruben?
Right. Yeah. I mean, it's the main thing is that, it's going to be very appealing. Again, they're going to be saving a couple $100 a month. It makes a big difference, on a buyer now, if you're saving them $400 or $500 a month. I mean, it's a matter of a yes or a no to make people can upgrade, right? Maybe they're living in a three-bedroom house and need a four-bedroom house. Well, I have and also if they're going from an existing home where they got one of those low rates, 3.5, whatever it may be, it's a lot easier to justify in your mind going from 3.5 to 5.5 than going from 3.5 to 7.5. That's why the market is going to explode on your listings because of those options, right? It's the affordability, it's the approvability, and it's the fact that they're making it's very easy to substantiate going from 3.5 to 5.5 as opposed to going from 3.5 to 7.5. It's a way around the system, and the reality is, nothing happens until closing. So there's no upfront fee. We're giving everything basically um, for free, and we're trying to partner with you on these listings uh, and try to get them closed.
Yeah, I mean, this definitely boosts the market. Like I said, again, I'm talking as a real estate agent. This boosts my marketing strategy. Properties advertised out there that say seller motivated, seller motivated. It literally, I think 45% of all listings in the MLS in South Florida say seller motivated. I think that advertising this program is going to help you attract buyers because it stands out. It stands out on online listing. It stands out on flyers. It stands out in open houses. This is a very unique selling point. Instead of putting seller motivated, this little gold mine that were talking about here is definitely going to increase your traffic. More traffic equals more showings, and more showings, it's more interest in the property, which means contracts. So this competitive edge gives the seller the advantage instead of having to lower their price, right? Because I mean, the lowering the price 3% is not going to make that much of a difference driving traffic. It's going to give the seller a definitely change their marketing, because in a slow moving market like the one we're facing right now as we are in the holiday season, it's going to make their listing more competitive. Um,
Yeah, and if you
and
we have a calculator on there, so you'll see, and you can play with the calculator also, and you'll see. So let's just use the example, right? If you have a $300,000 loan and you're buying the rate down by 3 points, we're adding one, so we actually buy it up by four. The sellers cost them $9,000, but that 4% buy down is a bigger savings than just lowering the price by $9,000. is significant. But lowering the price by $9,000 is not going to save them much on a monthly basis, right? Not over 360 months, but lowering the rate by a significant amount will save them significant amount of money. It's a win-win for everybody. It really is. And I think it's something that we really need to jump on, get excited about. And I'm looking forward to doing this presentation live so we can show some of the marketing materials that we have. But if you have a listing that, you've had it for 60 days, not getting much traffic, it's a good listing. This is the program for us. Let's give it a shot.
Yeah, I mean, this will help you as a real estate agent build client relationships. By recommending this list and lock program, you as a realtor are demonstrating your commitment to finding solutions for your clients. Remember, you got hired to sell that property. That their sell of that property is a problem, and they hire you because you're the professional to find a solution for that problem. This will definitely strengthen the trust and build a very positive reputation between you and your client. Potentially, I guarantee this leading to more referrals and more repeat business because of the good job that you're doing, because you're offering something different that the other 70,000 realtors are offering out there. Right, Ruben?
Correct. There's no question. It's a definite differentiator, like you said, for you and for us, right? I mean, this is a great program that we have. It's costing us money too. But again, we're always thinking long term in relationship. We're not transaction based company. Yeah, we want to close that transaction. We all get paid on the transaction. But again, the relationships that we develop with you and the consumer is what we're always after, right? Because that consumer again buys that house, going to remember you because you get them a great rate, going to remember us because we got them a great rate. And in 5 or 6 years, when they sell that and upgrade, they're going to call us back. You to list the property and for us to look at the purchase. Mortgage. Obviously you have a seller and we'd love to talk to the seller about what are they doing? Are they downsizing? Are they going to need a mortgage on their property? So there's so many aspects that, if you really play this correctly, that this program gives you the ability to do that. And it's working. And, I tend only to do things, me, I only live in reality. This is a really good program.
Yeah, and as we're wrapping it up, we're going to open for question next. Our 30 minutes are up. For everybody out there talking to a seller and is going on a listing presentation, and it's sitting there saying, you know what, I don't know if I want to list a house today. I think the foot traffic is there. I think I'm going to wait. I'm going to just wait it out. For those clients that are unsure about selling in this market right now due to the rate environment, for you offering this program to them can provide a strategic advantage. You're bringing something to the table that the other possible listing agent is not. It's going to make them more comfortable or list the property with you today, getting that property sold before the end of the year. So, in summary, to everybody listening, to me, the list and lock program, it literally can help sellers gain significant edge and appeal to more buyers and get deals closed faster by preserving the listing price. And you're, as a realtor, adding a value and service, making you more effective, which in this market, if you're more effective, you're more competitive, which means you are closing more deals. So for everybody else that have been listening, if you guys have any question, I know we've been rambling on. I have my, super duper colada. So I've been like, brrr. So I know you guys have questions. If anybody has anyone they want to jump in and ask, if anybody has a listing and wants to know how this works, let us know. We're here for you.
It's also like you just mentioned too, one of the additional aspect is it can help you get the listing. This should be part of your listing presentation. So if you're sitting there competing against, two other agents to get the listing of a property, you say, well, look what I have. I have this program and this is how it works. And this is the marketing it entails. And this is the company behind it. CMG is now the fourth largest lender in the country. We're not, Juanito Perez broker, right? So it's really, the reality is that we are here in it for you. There's so many aspects of win-win in this. So looking forward, I'm going to schedule the class. But in the meantime, if you have something you want me to talk about with me, please reach out. Ernesto always puts my, there we go.
I had a question from Marina. How this program will affect the sellers while defining the listing price? Could you give me an example with the numbers? So Irina, I'm gonna have Ruben give you a call So it doesn't affect the listing price. The listing price, and for those that, have listened to me for years, I don't define the listing price on a property ever. I try to find out what is the motivation behind them listing the property. I show them what the market is, and I tell them this range will get you your house sold in 60 to 90 days. This range will get you 90 days to 120 days. This range, 120 days to 365 days. Where do you want to be? That's the way to have always approach pricing. That way, I'm not telling you what to list the price. So we're not saying the price, but that every property. I think last time I talked about this about 12. Every property is up setting about 12% below listed price. So part of that 12% that the seller is reducing, instead of reducing it, could be used for this program. Well, Irina, I'm gonna have Ruben call you directly
Okay.
and run
Thank
some
you.
scenarios with
Thank you,
you.
Ernesto. Yes,
Will
yes.
do.
Thank you so much. Yeah, it will be helpful. Thanks.
Thank you. All right, everybody. So our 30 minutes are up. Ruben, I'm gonna put your number in the chat for those that don't know you. But if you wanna, what's the best way for them to get a hold of you?
Well, again, cell phone. I'm really good about calling everybody back. Leave a message. If you're not, just text me, 954-661-2790. And I call everybody back before the end of the day.
All right. So thank you, everybody, for attending this webinar today. We have another one tomorrow on technology. And then I think I'm going to be doing a presentation on forms en español tomorrow in Weston. So in case you want to come up to the Weston office, I will see you there. Have a fantastic regular Thursday, everybody. See you, Ruben.
Take care.